On this week's episode, we talk about drive-ins, how good modern home media has gotten, and finally, Corey confesses to paying to see Shark Tale in theaters.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
Tell it to the judge. Welcome to Halftone Takes, high contrast conversations where we zoom out to see the bigger picture. I'm one of your hosts, gently playing the entertainer on a piano in a movie theater, Adam Bucheri. And with me, as always, is my other co-host.
I am the other co-host, Corey Revis, aka Punjab the Butler. Let's go to the movies.
Let's indeed.
Let's go to the movies. Buddha says... Okay, I don't have anything after that.
I do not know. I don't know this reference. So.
Okay. You've never seen the movie Annie?
Annie, like the musical?
Yeah, from the movie is from the 80s.
No, I'm such a fake fan. Like I've listened to a bunch of the songs, but I've never actually seen the movie.
That's believe it or not, that's one of my favorite musicals is Annie. But yeah, I when you said movies, I immediately thought of Annie and that whole sequence of "Let's go to the movies."
Oh, sure.
And then I thought of Punjab and how it's how that is one of the most racist depictions of things I've ever seen in my life. But it's also still really funny in my opinion. So
how does he stack up against Mickey Rooney and Breakfast at Tiffany's? That's a rough one. That was a toughie.
It is rough because here's the thing. Mickey Breakfast at Tiffany's is weird because I'm like, that's just okay, this is gonna sound really bad for our audience, but that's just classic racism.
But it's that classic.
It's
racism.
Classic.
The classic racism.
But Punjab is just an insult to everybody because it's not only the wrong ethnicity, because that guy is clearly black, but it's Punjab. It's supposed to be Indian. Mm-hmm. But Punjab is not is a name of a place, not a person. But so the Punjab is actually just an Indian place. And actually, is it? I looked this up like a long time ago. Anyway, we're getting off the topic because all I thought about that is just Punjab, and it's funny to me. I love the thing that he says at like towards the end of the movie. It's like Buddha says, "A child without courage is like a night without stars. Come." Ha 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 ha.
What does that even mean? Well, as you know from reading the name of the episode that you downloaded and clicked on,
I didn't read
Podcast
it. What is
Addis, Spotify,
what are we doing?
Whatever podcast
I didn't read
your
it.
choice.
I have no idea what we're doing.
We are talking about movie theaters today.
That's what we're doing. I knew what we were doing.
Movie theater experience.
Now, what is that, Dracula?
That was Clayface from the Harley Quinn show, who's always talking about the theater.
The theater.
But we're talking about what is the deal with that big dark room that you go into with a bunch of strangers. And then you just spend a couple hours together.
We're not at the club?
No, we are at the club. They just are playing Nausicaa in the Valley of the Wind at the club.
Hey, let's not go too far into that because I want to get into that.
Bro, if they had Nausicaa in the Valley of the Wind playing at a club, I'd be way more likely to go.
Man, you maybe. It still might be sus.
It still would not be my scene. My scene being a bubble bath.
Yeah. Well, my scene is not a bubble bath, but I aged out of clubs, man.
Oh, yeah.
I
High
did go
effort.
to a couple clubs beforehand, but one thing that always killed me was the money. I don't want to pay a cover charge just to walk in the
Yeah.
door and then pay $20 just for a half a drink. Are you kidding me? No,
I'm sure that
I'm good.
inflation has made that more reasonable.
It depends on where you go, because some clubs are actually classy, but those clubs cost a lot to get in.
Like
So
Chippendales.
those are the clubs that you used to go to, right?
We saw,
Right?
we watched Welcome to Chippendales starring Kumail Nanjiani.
Yes.
Really fun show. Genuinely made me go like, fuck, this seems like a really good time. I would have fun there.
You've never see now. Here's the thing. Like I said, this just proves the point of people saying, "I would never go to a club." Sure, you would. You ever been to a gay club? Oh, I would go to that. Of course you would. Shut up. It's all about what you're into. There
Yeah.
are clubs for everybody. There are furry clubs out there, guys. There are furry clubs. God damn it. And yet you say, "Oh, I would never be caught in a club." No, you would never be caught into a movie club. Hollywood clubs are stupid. That's why nobody thinks they would be in a club. So,
Well, let me tell you, that movie club at my high school was fucking lame.
boo.
Boo! We're
Shut
talking
up.
about movie theaters. The big questions that I want to talk about today are the big screen experience versus the small screen experience. Different types of theater experiences, which a question that's deliberately kind of ambiguously worded. I'm interested to see how you interpret that.
Okay.
And then memorable experiences that you've had, because you've certainly told me about a good number of them that are just like, man, I wish I was there for that. That sounds pretty good.
I don't have a million of them, but I made a list of a whole bunch of them that were poignant for me, and not all of them are funny. Some of them are very just like, lighthearted. But
Yeah.
we'll get
Yeah,
into
yeah.
that, obviously.
So, before we get into subjectivity and just our personal feelings on things, I wanted to ask you about, what do you feel are the differences between big screen versus small screen experiences?
Okay.
Like, under what circumstances do you feel the need to go see a movie in theaters?
Okay. Okay, first things first. Let's ask the question. For both reasons, but first and foremost, why the theater in the first place? Why the movie theater? So
And also, let's just begin by rejecting Martin Scorsese coming in and waving his hands nebulously and just being like, it's just magical, you guys. It's just magical. Like, we want to get into some real, some real reasons.
why do we go see the movies and the magic? Because they are. Okay, shut up.
Well, I mean, great point. Hard to argue with that.
Yeah. Anyway, and I also want to push back that mainly for the idea of people that give reasons as to why they don't go to the movies, and usually it has, I'd say 80% of them to do with money, and that's unfortunate. So let's take it back a couple years, okay? This is the reason why, in my opinion. Let's take it back a couple years when it's not as expensive, and there are a little bit better movies. It's not as much bloat or anything like that. So the main reason why I go to the movies, it's more communal to me. And it's more of, I guess, an event.
Sure.
Those are the main two reasons. But why? This is why, I mean, even as I get older, I still go to the movies quite a bit. I try to. But I've definitely chilled on it because I don't feel there is enough, like you said, enough of a reason. In my opinion, if you go to the movies, you want to have a good time. And you want to have a unique time. Not only a good time, but a unique time. If I'm seeing the same type of movie over and over, in the olden days, we would just wait for it to come on like video and then go to the movie store and just rent it and then see it as many times as you want, or rent all the lot of the ones that came out all at the same time or whatever. So, I usually try to go like for that reason, and I think that's the main reason why a lot of people would still go, because you don't really hear about it, but why do people go to the movie theater? Well, the same reason why people go to drive-ins.
Which, I mean, but like, can we even really say that to the vast majority of the audience? Because we are both from Pennsylvania, and Pennsylvania has like a weirdly high density of drive-in movie theaters.
Yeah, that is true.
Like, I feel like if you polled 100 people from across the United States, like 95 of them have never had the opportunity to go to a drive-in.
Is that strictly a northeastern thing?
I have no idea.
Because I'm like, you think about it, where did Grease take place?
The movie Grease?
Yeah. Because that had a drive-in scene in it. At least I'm pretty sure.
I mean, yeah, but it also took place in the 50s, and there were a lot more drive-ins in the 50s.
I mean, I guess. So here's the thing is, if drive-ins were more prevalent, would people be more inclined to go to the theater? Because it's more of a communal / personal experience, because you're with a whole bunch of people, but at the same time, you're kind of enclosed in your own space, unless, of course, you want to do the cool thing and sit out on like the hood of your car and watch the movie.
Of course.
But, technology has jumped enough where you don't have those, those like little radio things that you hook to the side of your car anymore. Now they just blast it on a radio station. You're just like, oh, and you can blast it as much as you want or as little as you want or something like that. You can park wherever you want. So what I'm saying is bring back drive-ins. But
Corey, what's the last movie that you saw in the drive-in?
Good question. This might be a little embarrassing, but it was probably Pirates 3.
Ah, that was a pretty good.
Pirates of the Caribbean 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you also have to understand that drive-ins are... I never really had a reason to go to the drive-in without going to the theater, because usually I would go by myself and I would just go to the theater by myself. But if you have multiple people that want to just have a good time just with each other and not necessarily with another crowd, like, sitting by people, or maybe you just don't want to deal with the whole kids thing, because now we're getting to the negatives of theater stuff. Like, basically people, not always people. Sometimes it's a theater, having a bad time, being super janky, picture being off.
Sure.
I've been there, done that. Sound being turned off.
Yeah, sound being desynced by like a half a second is
that ruins everything.
Poison. Oh, that sucks so bad.
It ruins everything. And so it's interesting. But then that gets me into why the small screen. Why would you wait? Obviously it's a more intimate experience, less cost. That's another obvious one. And more variety. You can watch multiple movies if you want to without paying anything. You don't have to wait in line. You don't have to do that. I've been to movie theaters where we've done like multiple showings of movies like in a row.
Yeah.
Oh man, I forget. Was it the Pirates movie? No, it wasn't the Pirates movie. It was the Batman movie. I went with my sister.
Oh, fun.
This was years ago. I went to see like the Nolan Batman movies, and they played the third one. It was like they played the trilogy. So we saw 1, then 2, then 3, one after another.
That's a lot of movie.
Yeah, but it was for like the price of one movie. So of course we were like, this is fun. And we had a good time because, you know, there were a surprising amount of people that went. I mean, like I said, though, it was the best deal ever. For the price of one, we got to see 3. And that's when the third one just came out. So it was a great time. But, you know, if you don't want to stand in line, if you don't want to wait, that's another thing, a con when it comes to the movie theater. Sometimes you have to wait, especially if there's a lot of people. I have a story about that later on in the podcast. But, you know, it all depends on, because then it gets to the idea of that's like big screen versus small screen to me. But then it gets to the idea of how much is it worth it? How much is the movie I'm seeing worth it? So I'm guessing we're going to get into that later of the movie theater, the types of movie theater experiences. But what do you have to say about all of this? Because you probably have more to say about, you know, some of this stuff. I'm just giving a broad perspective, and I can just zoom in on stuff that you want to specifically talk about.
The one that I'm surprised that you did bring up, and maybe it's because you were going to roll it into the next one for why see movies in theaters, is impatience. Like, you gotta see it now. It just came out. It's very important to me to be able to be in the conversation and to have the movie spoiled on my own terms rather than hearing some jackass talk about it at work. Mm-hmm. You know, that definitely is a motivating factor.
It's definitely a FOMO situation. So,
yeah. I think that, like, it's difficult to talk about this in terms of, like, we're not trying to cover the totality of what going to the movie theater has been like, but here right now, you know, in the year of our Lord 2023, it is kind of never been a worse value proposition for a couple reasons. One is obviously expense. 2, we all are bombarded by an endless stream of entertainment vying for our attention. Our attention is the most valuable currency that we have. Long gone are the days of, you know, the 90s where you're just like, I'm bored. What do you want to do? It's like, you want to hang out in a cool, dark room for a couple hours? And it's just like, actually, that sounds pretty good. But also, and this is a big one for me, TVs have just gotten really fucking good.
Yeah. No more Memorex.
I mean, the days of...
Is it Memorex? It's Memorex, isn't it?
I have no idea. Is that a brand of TV or is that a brand of VHS?
It's a brand of TV. It's a brand of TV, and I don't think I'm right. Somebody's going to call me out in the comment section on this and say, it's not Memorex, you ass. It's something else. I'm like, spoiler, I don't remember.
It's going to be me calling you out. I'm going to fact check you, and then actually you.
Yeah, then I'm going to reach through the screen and choke you like Bart Simpson.
But, like, the point is that, like, what people who weren't there for it probably don't realize is what a significant jump in visual quality it was from VHS to DVD, where people were just like, oh my God, I gotta rebuy my entire movie collection.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. What do you mean this is all in widescreen instead of like pan and
full
scan?
Full screen, yeah.
Oh, the full screen experience. That was dire. That was a bleak way to watch a film.
Well, we didn't know. Well, that's the thing. We didn't notice. We didn't even notice back then until, because that was like you're talking about, like it was the big difference back then between the theater experience and the home experience is the home experience was strictly full screen. The theater experience was widescreen, like almost all the time. You
might be able to find, you know, letterboxed copies of it, but due to the fact of the potential resolution, that just meant that you were losing a ton of the screen, which was also not a great option.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think that it's really difficult to understate how wide of a gulf there was between like the theater experience and the home viewing experience up until around when we were in college. Like, I feel like the advent of the flat screen over, you know, was like a major turning point when we started getting HD resolutions, and then we started getting HDR, and then we started getting Ultra HD resolutions.
Oh, man. 4K,
and the media
8K,
formats
6K.
are improving. And it's like, I'm sure that there are benefits to like 8K and stuff, but
Progressive.
like 4K here in the modern world, I'm like, this is good enough. This is all I need. Like, this is awesome.
Hey, spoiler alert. That's all anybody usually ever needs is 4K. 8K, you start getting into recording situations. What is better for recording content? Usually for video games. The higher you go, the easier it is to, to render that in another like situation, like YouTube for Twitch streaming or something like that. That's all that really means, which is why you hear so many gamers complaining about resolution.
A lot of that has to do with like compression algorithms for broadcasting,
Yeah.
Friend of the show, Moon. Hi, Moon.
Hello, Moon.
Likes to stream these very long play video games where he'll be like, here's an 8-hour video of me doing pure platinum on Bayonetta 1 while explaining all of the mechanics in the game in ultra depth.
I would watch that, actually.
Yeah, you can. It's extremely available.
Oh, is it done? Oh, I thought you were just like, he's doing this right now. I'm like, oh, I'll wait.
No, he's got a lot of them. But like, it's good content. I think he's a cool guy. You should check out his work on YouTube at Triple S Moon. But like, we've definitely had conversations about just like, if he records the source footage in 1080 and then tries to broadcast it through the algorithm, the algorithm just makes it unwatchable.
Yep.
I'm sorry, when I say the algorithm, I mean the compression algorithm, not like the nebulous YouTube algorithm that dictates our lives.
Unless, of course, you're not on YouTube, in which case it doesn't dictate your life. But who's not on YouTube now?
But but like once he started recording at even like 1440 higher resolutions, it immediately was like a really measurable jump in visual clarity, which is important for those kind of games. Because there is so much going on and because the movement is so important to them.
Bitrate hell, as they like to say.
Yeah. But that's, that is related to what we're saying, but like specifically staying on movie theater, like the vast gulf between what home media looked like when we were in college versus the 4K UHD HDR version of Into the Spider-Verse that I downloaded legally earlier this week.
Nice catch. Good catch.
No problem. FBI, don't at me.
And then they break down your door. We heard what you did.
I told you not to at me.
You said our name. You summoned us.
But like, it's such an enormous difference in quality, where it's like 4K is the point where it feels like not as good as it gets. Like, I'm sure that it can get better, but like you're saying, similar to like audiophiles who have like absolutely crazy sound systems that are so finely tuned that the problem becomes not like this is the best way to listen to music, but the problem becomes like, oh, they didn't record this right, so the music that is recorded to the disc at the highest quality version of this that's available like is letting down the technology of my sound system, which is a weird like putting the cart before the horse philosophy that I don't gel with.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of it has to do with people being able to not only obtain but afford these technologies, which was unheard of back in the day. unless you were some type of person working in the industry or something. And I'm talking like back in the days in like the 80s.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever had like a friend of a friend who had the crazy home theater.
Well, I
thing.
did, but that wasn't a thing. Like, it was just like if you had to be wealthy or at least semi-rich to get something like that. And then we all would go over to their house to watch movies or play games or something because they had it.
Yeah.
So, and that was back in the day before like fast internet was a thing too. Because this is,
Oh, yeah.
you know, everybody was chugging along with the select few people that had, oh man, you got TSL? Are you crazy? Oh
You lost your
man.
damn mind?
Can you play like the original Half-Life on that?
Bro.
Yeah, boy.
What the fuck?
In that exact voice. As a 13-year-old.
Yeah, I remember going over to, you know, my dad had a rich friend and something, and you go over to his house and he had a 70-inch TV, which was like bigger than, you know, the planet at the time.
Yeah.
It was so insane. But the thing is, like, it was also as deep as it was tall. Like,
Man,
the logistics
it was a
involved in
door.
just getting it into a room boggle the mind.
I had a similar experience, I will tell you right now, because that just reminded me of years ago when I was a preteen or, you know, early teenager. I would go over to a friend of the family's house and we were just hanging out and they had a big screen TV like that. It was deep and wide. And we watched Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom on that. And that was one of the best times I ever had in my life. They were booming. It was awesome. I was like, this is crazy. It can't get any better than this.
Which, yeah, like I've talked about that sentiment and it's just like, it's always your brain lying to you. But I think there is some truth to like I know that it will get better than this. However, everything past this point, I don't care. This is good enough for the rest of the time.
This is good enough for me.
Yeah.
It's good enough for me.
Technology will improve, but if it doesn't, I'm good.
If it stops here.
Yeah, this is a fine place to stop.
Right here, right where I'm sitting, watching the Temple of Doom over and over again. So,
Just watching that minecart scene, because that's pretty good. But, yeah. I think that what you were saying earlier about, like, you know, streaming compression algorithms and stuff, that is also relevant to what we're talking about with the advent of streaming services and how they do keep getting better in terms of quality and all that stuff. The actual monetary business part of it is a fucking nightmare. Obviously, I'm not trying to defend that, but from a pure technological point of view, if I want to stream a 4K movie, it's extremely easy, it's extremely available, and the quality is very high.
Yes.
Which, you know, 4K streaming wasn't really a thing even just a few years ago. Like, that is still quite new in the scheme of things.
Yeah. I mean, at least you had to buy into it for that kind of service, but now it's just kind of readily available.
Yeah. And so, like, the conclusion to that is that, like, the gulf between the theater experience and home media has never been narrower. And not only that, like, I think that there's some truth to, you know, you've got Christopher Nolan, who's mixing his video and audio for the movie theater experience. And he's kind of an outlier in that way. And also think about, like, there were, you know, those episodes of Game of Thrones that everyone was complaining about were, like, way too dark. And that's because they were designed for HDR televisions under optimal conditions, which, like, streaming it was not an optimal condition. And then also a relatively small part of the audience is streaming that in 4K HDR in order to get it. What I'm trying to get at is that I think that the majority of movies and media in general these days are being made with home media first and foremost
Yeah.
in mind.
Oh yeah,
Which,
definitely.
I mean, is also like such a sea change where not only is the media better than it's ever been for home media, but it's good enough to the point where that's seen as the primary distribution method, even for a lot of movies, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just saw a trailer today, and it was for Apple TV, and I was like, "Whoa, didn't expect that one."
Mm-hmm.
And it looked like a big budget war movie, like I mean, period piece. And I was like,
"Oh yeah,
"Jeez!" And then it said Apple TV, and I was like, I basically made like this surprised face,
the incredulous face."
yeah, and I was like, "Huh, all right, we're there. Apparently, we're there."
I mean, we've been there. Like the budgets on the Rings of Power show is genuinely obscene.
Yeah, but I mean, the reason why I had that reaction of, "Oh, we're there,"
Mhm.
And this is for, I guess, just like for me personally, but that's the first time that I was expecting. It was a movie trailer.
Yeah.
It didn't lead with, "This is going to be on Apple TV." No, it was a trailer that I would expect to see in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
Like that kind of tentpole-esque. I don't think it was a tentpole movie, but tentpole-esque like marketing behind it. And then it said, like, within, when it shows like the studios and stuff, it said Apple TV exclusive or something. I'm like,
Right.
whoa. Like, okay. Normally you guys lead with that, but this was like a surprise in my opinion. And I was like, oh, okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised because I think that we're at that point, like you were leading into. I think we're at that point where we can basically, you can pick and choose. I think it's going to be a little bit more. It's going to get a little bit more like refined as these years go on, is because right now there's just everything is big. Everything has to be big. Everything has to be this. And I'm like, okay, all right. So how about we scale it back to, and in my opinion, like kind of like the olden days when you knew what was a blockbuster and you knew what belonged on the small screen, even if it ended up being kind of grandiose and something like that. It's still like, this looks like it would be on the small screen. This looks like I would want to go see it as an experience. And that's, I guess, what we're, leading into next. The type of theater experiences is.
I want to put like one more button on the previous topic before we segue,
Okay.
which is just like, I think that you made a really great point there before, which is that previously there used to be such a major difference between different types of media, where it's just like, oh, it's a made-for-TV movie, and that turn of phrase like caused multiple generations to be like, ugh.
Well, that became a negative over time instead of like,
I would argue that it's always been like, oh, this is going to be some real jank. Like, this is going to be some real.
I would argue that it wasn't always like that, because I'm thinking of the early direct-to-video, because that's basically what it is, like direct-to-video sequels that maybe Disney put out. Like, yes, it was true. Not all of them were good, but at least some of them were good. Like, I'm thinking like Extremely Goofy movie. I wouldn't want to see that in theater.
Sure.
But that was still really funny and entertaining. And
I'm
a couple
not
of other
saying
ones.
it's not possible that there have been good made direct. What I'm saying is that, like, in terms of the ability to spot a made-for-TV movie from 30 yards away.
Oh.
Like,
Talking
that
about
used
the recognition.
Yeah, that used to be like a very real thing, where there is just like a huge difference in budgets and production value, star power, what you would expect out of those kind of things. And that gap has like I feel like not only closed, but like the line between them is invisible.
Yeah.
The line between you talking about this Apple TV. I'm pretty sure you're talking about the Napoleon
Oh yeah,
show.
yeah, I saw that.
Like, what's the difference between that and a major movie?
Well, there basically is. That's what I was saying. There basically is no difference.
Like episodic format, like length.
Well,
Like
that's supposed to be a show. I thought that was supposed to be a film.
I don't even know.
I thought it was a
Apple
movie.
TV.
Yeah, because it has a rating. It has an R rating, so I think it's a show. Yeah.
In that case, what is the difference at all?
A movie.
Like,
that's what I meant. I said show. Shoot, you're messing me up. You're messing me up.
The line between those has like totally blurred. The line between high budget television and film and low budget film and television like has been completely obliterated.
Yeah.
And it's really not about that. Like what used to pass for spectacle has become the floor has been raised pretty dramatically, I think.
I don't want to say like, oh, you're wrong on this part, but I do want to push back a tiny bit and say, I don't think it's more about the spectacle. Oh, excuse me. Geez. I don't think it's more about the spectacle. I think it's more about the expectation. Because there's a lot of spectacle in certain things that they put on TV or like the small screen as opposed to the big screen too. Is like in that regard, yeah, they're interchangeable. But there is something to be said about something like, I don't know, Doom Part 2 than something like Napoleon, where I could see Napoleon on the big screen, but I can also see it on the small screen. I really don't want to see Dune Part 2 on the small screen. I want to see that blaring in my face. So but that movie is, I believe, meant to be seen up on the big screen. And there is something to be said about having it blaring. And because that's, I think, the experience, because it's meant to be that big.
Yeah. The element of sensory overload that comes with it.
And I think some films are meant to be that way. And to a certain extent, some TV is meant to be that way. And some TV isn't, where you can have a more downplayed watching experience.
I feel like you may unintentionally be proving my point, though, by saying that, like, the Napoleon movie, on Apple Plus, I'm fine watching that at home. And it's like, okay, you're fine watching that at home because you can watch it in modern resolutions in modern ways. Would you be fine watching it in a 4:3 aspect ratio at 480p on your CRT TV? No, it would have been must-see theater spectacle.
That is,
not
that is
long
true.
ago.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I mean, it's. I think it. Well, here's the thing: is with that kind of stuff, I think people are starting to get smarter about it too, smarter about distribution. Because beforehand, something like that would have just been theater, period. But now that people can do both simultaneously, it's no longer a choice. Because beforehand, even in the early advent of streaming, it was a financial choice for most. I think you gotta
clarify what you're referring to. Whose choice? Whose finances?
The studios or like the actual filmmakers themselves. Usually, it's just the studios who have the option of, do we want to put this on streaming, or do we? Because back then, I mean, I guess like streaming, as in streaming, or people can rent the disc or something like that.
Sure.
Or do you want
if we're talking like early days of Netflix?
Yeah, with not as much with not as much marketing power behind it. So, or do we want to put all of that? Because once you choose theaters, you have to. It's an entire process. So yeah. It's way more of a risk. And now it's even more of a risk nowadays because of theaters, and that this is a whole nother I mean, I guess this is part of the discussion where theaters are not playing fair. They're not playing, they're not playing according to what's supposed to be happening. And of course, they're suffering for it. They're shooting themselves in the foot. And the industry is saying, well, we do have another option that makes us just as much, if not more money now. So screw you. And like theaters aren't catching up. Some of them are, but a lot of them aren't. And they're suffering because of it. Some of them are even closing down. Carmike basically doesn't. Well, Carmike is over here in, the Eastern. I haven't seen a Carmike anywhere else, Carmike Cinemas. But I don't see them anymore. They basically don't exist. It's nothing but AMC and Cinemark over here. They probably have a whole bunch of other stuff all over the place. I don't know what you guys have over there, but
we got Regal.
Yeah, you guys got Regal. And yeah, there's the big guys are still kind of there, but even then, a lot of people are moving towards the smaller, more intimate, I guess, almost hipster-like theaters, which to me should everybody should be moving to the norm. That should be the norm, because they more emphasize the movie theater going experience more than anybody nowadays.
We'll talk about that for like the different types of theater experiences, because I'm a fan of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so
I don't think that it's within the scope of this episode to talk about it, but like I think that there is a fascinating discussion that you're like dipping your toe into about just like the rise of digital distribution and what a fundamental change that is.
That is like kind of a more rabbit hole discussion. So yeah.
But let's more formally pivot to different types of theater experiences. Let's say that you do make the incredibly brave choice to go and see a movie in a movie theater. Within that broad umbrella, like there can be a lot of possibility space. So, Corey, I know that you had a few that you wanted to talk about.
Oh, okay. You want to throw it in my court again? Because I was gonna wait for what you had to say about this first.
No. I'm interviewing you. I want to hear you first.
Okay. Well, the types of theater experiences mainly deal with the why, because we kind of touched on it a little bit in like the first part. But why do I go to the theater? And why should people go to the theater? Not just me, but why? What are the reasons? What makes you get up and possibly with friends or family and go? Obviously, the biggest one that people usually go to is blockbuster or / tentpole movies. The ones that they've been advertising for half a year or to a full year almost. They're building it up. They're putting all this market forces behind it. As you say so many times, market forces. All that implies.
Yep.
So
they're putting out a trailer. It's 4 minutes long. It tells you everything that happens in the movie.
Transformers. That's every Transformers movie, unfortunately. But but that can also include war movies, war films, big war films.
Sure. Yeah.
People love seeing that stuff and right in front of your face, and okay. I
also kind of not my bag, but
exactly.
But I do get it.
Yeah, that's not my bag either. After seeing what is it? Probably the most famous one, which is Saving Private Ryan. That big in my face, because I didn't see it when it came out, obviously, but I did see it when they replayed it. They put like a local theater put it back in, and I went to go see it, and I was like, now I remember why I don't like watching this movie more than once. Yep. And then, after seeing a couple more war films, 1917 doesn't count. I'm going to talk about that later. But, after like seeing something like We Were Soldiers, which is about the Vietnam War, and my dad was in the Vietnam War. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to watch this anymore. I don't want to watch this stuff anymore. It's not that I'm squeamish, it's that I'm just like, I don't know how I feel about this kind of. I don't have that much bloodlust to watch this stuff constantly.
I also just like personally, not to turn this conversation into this, but like, I just do feel like a slight ickiness about like, this is a real event and like real people died in this. And like, I don't know if I feel like this material is being handled responsibly. Because I feel like I shouldn't be like pumping my fist and going, "Fuck yeah, awesome."
Here's the thing: there is and this is I knew this. I've seen enough war movies on both ends to be like, okay, I kind of know the difference now. Like something like, Hamburger Hill or what have you, or even stuff on TV like this miniseries, like Band of Brothers or something. And I'm like, okay. They're taking this seriously where this really sucks. And it's not like they're being like, yeah, this more like, oh, this sucks. As something where it's trying to tell a different story. Like, oh man, what was that movie? Like Thin Red Line. Which is, I think, based off a graphic novel or a comic. So it's not, about... it's telling something very specific. I think it's Thin Red Line. But yeah, it's telling something very specific. So the art is there. It's a little bit more artsy and stuff like that. So, but usually people don't put, not usually, I shouldn't say usually now, but we're getting on the topic of war films and we're going off topic, but war films. I'm just going to say a lot of people like to see big, budget war films. I think another one is holiday films. People love to see a Christmas movie.
Interesting.
Or a Halloween movie. Hell yeah. Like Halloween season. Yep. What do people do? They go see Halloween movies. They go see like either serious Halloween movies, like, an actual horror movie, or they go see like a silly Halloween movie. Like I've said this before, I think, on this podcast, but one of my all-time favorite Halloween movies that I watch my favorite every year is Monster House. I saw that in theater.
Monster House is fun.
Monster House is so much fun. It's obviously not a perfect movie, but it gives me the perfect Halloween vibes of mwah. I love this. Also, Paranorman. I watch Paranorman every year too. Paranorman is very good. But I saw both of those in theaters, and I was like, this is perfect. I'm glad I watched this in theater. So that, but obviously, of course, I just watched it again, but the number one 4th of July movie, because this does count as the holiday movie, is Live Free or Die Hard, which I also saw in theater.
Oh my God. I 1000% thought you were talking about Independence Day. Dodoy.
I completely forgot about Independence Day, which is another crowd pleaser theater experience.
However, bruh, I'm so on board with you for Live Free or Die Hard. That movie's dumb as a sack of hammers, and I love it. It's so good.
It should be. It's the amalgamation of all of them, basically. With the,
it's just
one after
really
that sucks,
fun.
It's really very fun. It gives the audience what they want. Yeah. And all of that implies, because I have seen this in theaters and we were cheering and screaming the whole time. Because why? Because this is exactly what we wanted.
Because they're having a kung fu fight in an elevator shaft in an SUV.
And then at the end,
rules.
And you know what that got everybody to laugh after that? His reaction.
The Bruce Willis deranged, unhinged laughter absolutely makes it.
We died because that is exactly what we all felt. That's exactly what we all felt.
God, remember when Bruce Willis was in movies and he wanted to be in movies?
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, that he can't be in movies now. Which
I know. He's got health and medical reasons, but he gave up long before then.
Oh yeah. Like, have you seen G.I. Joe Retaliation?
Corey, No. Why would I have seen G.I. Joe, Retaliation?
Oh, man. Gotta see it, man.
Get the fuck out of here.
You gotta see it, man.
Get the fuck. Make me watch Stealth 2.
Yeah. Does Stealth 2 exist?
I'm dead serious. If it
did. Watch party. I do have one more type of movie theater experience that I think is probably the best way to do this. Comedies. Flat out comedies. Like stupid comedies where it's just about people. Like I describe this as like The Hangover comedy. Sure. Like the first one. When people just didn't know what to even expect. Yeah. Those types of comedies where it was just about the slapstick, just about the situational stuff. Like one of my best experiences I've ever had was seeing, I watched this with my sister. I used to go to the movies with my sister all the time because we have the same type of humor. But I went to go see Pineapple Express. One of the funniest, best crowds for a comedy I've ever had. Because I almost died because I was laughing so much that I started having a coughing fit. But yeah. And I was like, I think comedies, it's really hard to say. Because usually people want to watch comedies with a group of friends. Even if it's the first time watching it. It's, to me, watching a comedy just by yourself, like just sitting in front of your computer, like just staring and being like,
good one.
Yeah, it seems lame to me. It's super lame.
It's like, Chris Evans' delivery and Scott Pilgrim, where he's just like,
that's hilarious.
Actually, that was hilarious.
Actually, that's hilarious. Hey, you want to do a thing on that,
like a grind thing?
Yeah, you're gonna do that grind. He's like, you mean a grind? Yeah, a grind thingy. You want to do it? Can you do
it? Oh, Scott Pilgrim.
Which I also saw in theaters.
Boy, that's a big regret for me. I didn't see that in theaters, and I really fucking wish I did.
Oh, I saw that. That was a great experience because not only is that like a comedy, and it's like an action comedy almost, but it's also a musical. So that musical opening in a theater,
it's awesome.
I was like, oh wow!
And the camera just keeps zooming back impossibly.
Oh my god! What does she say? What does Knives say? She's like,
they're so good.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god, oh my god. And I was like, it throws it in your face too. It knows what it is, and I'm like, thank you. Thank you for doing this. So, yeah.
Scott Pilgrim has maybe the best example of like dirtbag garage band music in the cinema. Where it's just like.
It's actually good.
It's like the song Garbage Truck, which I'm cutting in right now. Okay. You're listening to some of it. Garbage Truck is playing as we speak. This song sucks, and I fucking love it. I take you to the cause you're my queen. Take you uptown. I show you the sights, you know you wanna ride. I'm a garbage truck.
Oh, I didn't expect you to say that, but that's funny.
But yeah, no, I think that's like I can certainly think of a couple of like comedy movies where and even just like, you know, Thor Ragnarok in theaters.
Oh yeah.
You know, that theater is busting a gut.
See, you went to go see that in theater?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was okay. I know a lot of people like. I guess it was split down the middle. Like some people loved it and some people hated it. I was like, that's all right. So,
well, I'm just talking about the crowd that I saw it with.
Oh, okay. You're just talking about the crowd. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm betting they were just like, hoo, 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 hoo.
Yeah, they were hooting and hollering.
Yeah, that's good. It's good.
All right. So, those are your types of theater experiences.
Yeah.
That was, again, I left that question deliberately open-ended because I was curious as to how you were going to talk about it. totally different than what I'm going to say.
I had a feeling.
Because what I was going to say is like genuinely different types of theater experiences.
Like movie theaters, different types of movie theaters. Oh, okay, that's cool.
Like, hey, when was the last time that you got to go to a dollar theater? Because when I was growing up, there was one that was just a couple blocks away. It was within biking distance of my house.
Man.
And let me tell you, you're like 13 years old and you got $4 in your pocket and you got a friend from down the street and you're just like, you want to go hang out and watch, some dumb movie that came out 6 months ago and it's not very good, but
it's $1.
It's cheap.
Yeah.
And it's going to be air conditioned and it's currently summer and it's hot as fuck. And like, man, awesome.
Oh,
I miss that.
Man, you completely brought back, you hit me with the nostalgia stick, dude. Because, yeah, we didn't have a dollar theater close to us, but we had a dollar theater about maybe 45 minutes away, like 45 minutes away. And I remember you brought back so many memories because that's the first time I saw Shrek.
Yes.
Like the first Shrek.
Oh, what a great dollar movie.
Yeah, we saw, and it was a packed house. It was a packed house in a dollar theater. Everybody going to see Shrek, which already was on video and nobody cared. We all just wanted to go see it and laugh with each other. Oh, man, I remember that. That was such a good time. It was right next to the Chuck E. Cheese, too. We were pumped that day. We were pumped. We were like, yes, let's go. Let's go to the movies and let's go right next door to Chuck E. Cheese. The kids' casino, let's go. I want to win some tickets. I want some tickets,
man.
Hell
yeah. Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah.
Just total goblin mode.
And all of us, like, there were a lot of little kids too. So, like, just imagine like the kindergartners off of recess.
Yeah.
That's kind of sounded like Donnie off of the Wild Thornberries, but you know what I mean.
I absolutely thought that's what you were doing. Like, I remember us being in San Francisco circa 2014.
2000. Circa 2000.
2014. And
Pokemon
me being
2000.
like, fucking $14 for a ticket? Have you lost your fucking mind?
Pardon me?
And that's just how it is now, baby. Like, our local theater is like $16.50.
Whoa!
And it's just, that's it. That's the only game in town.
That's the only one. Yeah. So they cornered the market.
That's not strictly true. Here's another unique experience that you can have in a theater. IMAX, any kind of those premium theaters. Yeah. We have one that's a couple hours away. The only theater... The only IMAX that is available to us is about a 2-hour drive, and it's in Yellowstone.
Yeah, I think you told me about that.
In Yellowstone National Park.
Awesome.
And we drove out there to go see Dune.
Yeah.
And it was a whole thing. My wife has synesthesia, and it wasn't the giant picture, but it was the sound. The sound was so dramatic and loud and just,
bass booming.
Yeah, just Denis Villeneuve has such a wall of sound when he's doing the audio design for his films. Also true for Blade Runner 2049, which is absolutely just outstanding soundtrack.
Yeah. We're going to get into him. We're going to get into him later.
But my wife is watching this movie, and it's 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours long. And basically, like, the whole time she's just got like this, white knuckle grip on my arm. And I just keep going on and just be like, hey, you okay? You doing good? And she's just like,
yes.
Yeah.
Gritted teeth. Yes.
Yeah. Basically, just like super, super intense for her in a way that she claims that she can't decide whether or not she wants to go see the second one in IMAX She does. But then also when we were finished, well, I'm just saying before, she's just spending a lot of words and a lot of time waffling on it when I already know the answer. You know?
Okay.
I cannot emphasize this enough. I'm extremely married to her. And
yes.
I know what's up.
Yes.
You can't fool me.
Okay. As opposed to mildly married.
I'm extremely married to her.
Yes.
But yeah, and then after that we saw that in theaters, we were snowed into Yellowstone and we had to emergency spend the night over there because we tried taking the Yellowstone pass and that was absolutely fucking a death trap.
That's a nope.
Not happening.
That's a nope and a half.
Was very bad. So that was great. We love that.
Movie theater experiences. Hooray!
Other types of cool movie theater experiences, like small theaters that only play old movies.
Oh yeah,
those are really cool.
Oh, those are. We have a couple of them around us.
I associate it as a big city thing. You know, we live in a small to mid-sized city over here, and we just have the one movie theater, excluding the IMAX that's 2 hours away through a deadly
gauntlet.
It's genuinely, it's such a harrowing drive. I fucking hate that road. There's so many little white crosses dotting.
Oh man, years ago when we visited you, me and my wife, and I remember strictly like you saying, or not you, but both of you saying, like, don't interrupt, your wife saying, don't interrupt me. Let me drive. Because we were driving at night home from Yellowstone down a mountain with no guardrails.
Nope.
And no city lights. Obviously, this is like beautiful. You could see the sky. It's big sky country. Oh, like, oh my goodness. Oh God. You look over the hillside and there's nothing. It's an abyss. Yeah. And I was like, let her drive. Let her cook. Because I ain't driving this way.
Yeah.
So, and she's like, just let me drive. Everybody quiet. I'm like, let me concentrate. And I'm like, yes, ma'am. So, yeah, terrifying. In winter, that was in summer. I could only imagine how it is in winter.
Yeah. Whiteout blizzard. We got like 15 minutes down the road and we were like, we are going to die.
I am going to die.
Medic! So yeah, no, we just turned around and then we had an extremely bad night at a hotel.
Yeah. That's rough.
And also every restaurant in town was closed because it's just that kind of place. So I genuinely like eating gas station food in the shittiest motel. Awful.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do. I've been there though.
Extremely memorable. Great story.
But anyway, theaters.
But like small weird theaters was what I was saying. I was associating them with like it's a big city thing to me. I remember Quentin Tarantino owns a weird little theater in LA.
Really? Oh yeah, I heard about this. Yeah.
So I had been to that one a couple times, and then when we visited our friends in Seattle, we went to a little one, and that was just a real little guy, and there were no regular seats. It was just old couches.
Yep. So that was like something that was just made.
Pretty much. It was just like I had a real loosey-goosey vibe to it that I thought was really
underground.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of those types of things around. Because I don't want to cut you off, dude, because this is actually really cool that you brought up like the actual different types of theaters. And I was going to say, have you ever been to one, like a movie theater on a roof? Like a rooftop movie?
No.
Yeah. I've been to one, and this was years ago.
Is it like a drive-in where it's like a projection, but you're on open sky?
No, it's not on open sky, but it is like on top of like a skyscraper or like a building like in the city or something.
Pretty fun.
They're really cool because it's usually something that they're playing like something like cult classic or something like that.
Yep.
And those are really fun because it's very obviously it's open air. Usually it's in the summertime and stuff where they serve like some drinks or something like that or some little snacky poos. And It's a good time. Like I said, I did that years ago, and it was Back to the Future they showed, and I was like, this is kind of awesome. This is kind of awesome. And they still do that. It's just that they obviously you have to go looking for it, because if you search it, like in Pittsburgh, because that's where I live, they have like different rooftop experiences, but on different rooftops on different days. So it's never like the same place twice, basically. So, and also we do have a very small like movie theater, like a one theater, old timey theater by us, like literally 15 minutes away. And we were going to see it's right now it's actually playing, I think, Spider-Verse. But like a couple years ago, it was playing Black Panther. So we were gonna go see it, but we ended up seeing it in IMAX. Well, not in IMAX, but the IMAX movie theater, and that was fun though. But yeah, so I get it. Any other ones? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, because that's actually very interesting.
No, I really enjoyed hearing about rooftop theaters, which I didn't even know were an option. That does remind me that, again, when we were in a city, we saw The Goonies, and that was projected outside in a graveyard. Okay. So we got to have a cool graveyard movie.
Okay.
Which is pretty sweet.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. And then also for reasons like the guy who played one of the kids was there.
Oh, okay.
I think it was Chunk, because
really
he just turned into a lawyer and didn't actually do anything. So he's just like a minor celebrity who comes out once in a while and waves. It's not like Sean Astin was there, you know?
Yeah. But that's still cool though. That's still fun. Still neat. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's actually like another kind of thing that I hadn't really considered as part of this. Have you ever been to like a press event theater screening?
Oh, no. I've been a part of it, but I've never been inside, because years ago, when me and my wife, we went to San Diego Comic Con. So we were just down there for a week, or over there for a week in LA, and we took one day to like just go to LA, and there was like a big long situation that neither of us like to remember, because it was technically a bad day. But a cool day. But a cool time of that day was we got to be a part of a movie premiere. Now it's a movie that everybody's kind of like, oh boy. Nowadays.
Stealth 2.
No, it was the movie by the French director who did years ago that starred Rihanna.
Battleship.
No, because everybody thought it was a sequel to The Fifth Element, because it looked so much like The Fifth Element.
Oh, you're talking about Valerian.
Yes, and he's one of my favorite directors too.
Yeah,
because
what's that guy's name?
I am going blank, and I hate this because he's one of my favorite directors.
Luc Besson.
Yes,
that's
Luc Besson.
The guy.
So it was that movie that was premiering that day. So we got to be a part of the outside premiere experience, which was, it's still technically a movie theater experience because we were right in front of the Chinese theater. So it was crazy. Like Chris Tucker showed up, and of course everybody was waiting for Rihanna. She showed up last and late. But I was this close. And if you had a camera, everybody, you can see how close my fingers are. I was this close to getting Luc Besson's autograph. This close. Because he came I have a picture. Of this. If and when we get an Instagram for this, I will definitely put that picture up. But he was right in front of me. He was right in front of me. I had my sketchbook with me. I was literally holding it out, and then the girl in front of me, she was there for Rihanna, but everybody was cool. Everybody was like, "No, you want me to get that side for you? Let's go. Here, hand it to me. I can hold it out for you." Because she was like right on the fence, and I was like, "Oh, come on, yes." And he got that close, and then he turned around. He was waving at everybody. He was signing stuff, and then he just right when he was 2 people away from mine. And then he put his pen up or like marker up, and he just started waving. He's like, "Okay, I gotta walk back." And I was like, No. And she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." The girl in front of me, she's like, "I'm so sorry." So that was a cool experience. I guess it still technically counts as a movie theater experience.
No, I mean that's like, I think it all counts. Like I think that like. It's really neat, like the stuff that goes on around it too, because again, this is the kind of experience that you're not going to get at home. That you can only get by touching grass.
I was about to say that. I was about to say that too. I'm glad we're sharing the same brain cell. It's good.
Yeah, just the one cell, just like slowly ping ponging between us, like the DVD screensaver.
Oh, I was gonna say pong. Boink, boink, boink. But
my 2 press event memories were.
I want to hear this. This is cool.
I mean, they're not. One's boring. I'll start with the boring one. So we went to. This was again while we were in San Francisco. Stuff just happens ambiently in San Francisco.
I believe
it's such a cool place to live, and such a place that's unacceptable to live.
That sounds like the Bay Area to me.
I know.
Sounds like it.
I know. But we were there for 2 years for grad school, and just stuff happens ambiently, and it's cool to be in proximity to it.
Yeah.
And so I remember my brother was in town, and we went to see Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Oh, really?
Yep.
The spy going to see a spy movie. Yeah.
Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy around here.
I was about to say that. God damn it. Why are you doing that?
I'm too good. I'm too good.
I'm too good.
Keep up with me. I'm fast as fuck, boy.
Yeah, I was about to say that too. Oh, yeah. You are getting the experience this episode, people. You're getting the experience.
But, yeah, so we saw Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, which is a deeply okay movie.
I was about to say, because I saw that too, and it was like, oh, all right. Was it Gary Oldman's in it? I think Gary Oldman's in it.
For a specific type of person, like, I'm sure it's, like, exceptional, but, like, it's just not like really my speed. It was okay. But it was a opening day, like, press event. And it featured a Q&A with actor Gary Oldman at the end of the movie.
Sweet.
So the movie runs, and then Gary Oldman comes out, and I cannot emphasize enough that it sounds cooler than it is. And it's just like, yeah, I guess that's the guy. He's over there. And then just had absolutely the most banal Q&A session where people are just coming up and being like, "Do you have any acting tips?"
You guys have phones?
And it's like, it just had exactly the energy of that, like, I don't remember where it's from, but like there's like Sir Ian McKellen doing like a parody of like, you know, acting tips. He's just like, "Well, I simply pretend. So I'll be going out there, and it'll be Sir Ian.
Yeah.
You shall not pass. Sir Ian. I simply pretend to be the wizard." That was basically the energy of the interview. It's real. Just, all right.
Exactly, yeah. Okay,
He's extremely a person who's in this room. The other one, which was much better, this was a great event. And let me tell you, one of the great joys about San Francisco or other big cities is quality public transportation, where you don't need a car, where you can just take the BART wherever you want to go. And that means that you can get real stoned before going to see the press pre-release screening of Pacific Rim in 3D.
Oh.
And that was fucking sweet. Just go in there, pretty toasted. One of the best movies in 3D, like as far as like the 3D actually enhancing it. I thought it really did a lot of good work to help enhance the sense of scale.
Ooh.
Really enjoyed that. And then also got a bunch of swag out of it. And who doesn't fucking like getting some Pacific Rim swag?
Give me the swag bag. Give it to me.
Yeah.
Oh, so that sounds like a good time.
That was a good time. Saw that with my wife. She got some early press stuff.
I thought you were going to say, I saw this with my wife. She got hella stoned.
Well, she did, but that's neither here nor there. But at the time she was working, she was doing an internship at the Cartoon Art Museum.
Oh, yeah.
And so they just would regularly get some, hey, you
guys want to go
press
to this?
stuff. Exactly. And that was the one where it was just like, no, this is essential. Like, we must.
This is essential.
We have to do this,
dude. Real quick, this is the last one, basically, because I'm assuming that we're wrapping it up to the third part. But this is the last one. Are you gonna forget about the time that we both had an experience like this? Movie theaters when we were in college?
Oh, maybe. Which one are you talking about?
I'm talking about How to Train Your Dragon, the first one.
I had forgotten about that. Yeah, I don't know if I was there.
Yeah. Oh man, our entire like animation class went to go see it because of like a big animator who was a part of making that movie. So we went to the theater in Erie. And our whole class was there, and we got an exclusive screening of it. And then after the screening, the guy came out, and he basically was talking about like the things, like the shots that he did, the process. He showed a couple of shots that he did from other movies on the screen and stuff like that. It was amazing. I was like, oh man, this is awesome. So
I think I must have missed that.
Oh man, you missed that?
I don't have any memories of that.
Oh man, because I also know. Remember when that movie 9 came out?
Yes,
and they did the same thing. Were you there for that too?
Yeah. That one I got to see.
Okay, yeah.
And I had to tell a professor that I was going to leave their class early in order to go see this screening. They're like, okay, I'm going to mark you absent, and I'm like,
go ahead,
all right.
Do it. Yeah,
and then we were just like, we just both were just like, okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what are you gonna do? Hit
Bye.
me?
I do not care.
Yeah. But yeah, that was a very cool experience, I guess. So, and to be honest, the first one, I really like the first How to Train Your Dragon. I think it's really good.
Oh, it's great.
So yeah, I think we were all really excited about that because not only that, but that was a big movie during that time too. Like everybody was talking about how good it was. So it was really cool to tell other people. It was like, guess who got an exclusive screening to go see that? I bet you're jealous now. Yeah, I know. You missed out.
I am jealous now.
Wuss.
That's another type of movie theater experience that you can have. Not sorry, I just my brain quantum leaped to a similar but unrelated. When you were talking about Comic-Con and stuff, like convention viewing, where it's just like, oh, you go to a horror movie festival and you're just going to like bounce from one movie to another and just like see a bunch of stuff in short succession, and there's just going to be like that kind of energy around. Like, that stuff's real cool.
Yeah, and everybody's into it, too. So everybody's hooping and hollering and screaming and crying and pissing and farting.
Shitting the pants.
Yeah, there you go. Yep. The entire movie-going experience.
It's the entire life cycle of someone watching a movie in a movie theater.
Yep, that's how it goes every time. That's what you're paying for. You're paying your $16.92.
My $16.92 just to pee my own pants.
I can pee my own pants at home in 4K on my own TV screen.
Absolutely.
So now let's talk about the last part, which is the memorable experiences that we've had. So I don't know if you want me to go
first.
Which
we've already, covered quite a few. Like the line is fuzzy between them. But yeah, give me a couple of your most memorable. And especially like, here's another one that you haven't talked about like the types of theater experiences. A couple times on this podcast, you have talked about, you ever seen a movie with an all-black audience?
Oh, the different types of audiences.
And like different types of audiences is a real thing, for sure.
Oh yeah, that is definitely a thing. It's very interesting when you live in a very diverse area. Mm-hmm. That has multiple movie theaters in these places. So you got like where we live in kind of the cusp of the Hispanic neighborhood. So we do have a lot more Hispanic people in the couple of theaters that are near us, specifically where we live. However, if you go across the city on the other side of the city, you get to like the XD theater, which is where all the wealthy people go to see the movies. Mm-hmm. And then you go all the way down the river to the IMAX theater, but it's right next to the hood. So you have a whole bunch of people going to the movies there. But it's like, if you want to see IMAX, that's where you gotta go. And it's very interesting that you bring that up, like really quick, obviously, but it's very interesting because I've seen that leads into one of my memorable experiences, going to see The Hulk. Not Hulk, The Hulk.
Interesting.
Yeah, with a mostly black audience.
And sorry.
And that's including a lot of my family.
Which one is that? Is that the weird Edward Norton one? Or
it's the Edward Norton one. That's The Hulk. The Incredible Hulk, basically. Not Hulk. Which I also saw in theaters, but that was just underwhelming. So, but The Hulk, like the Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton, one of the funniest times I ever had, because I saw that with a lot of my family. Some of my friends came with us, and it was mostly a black audience. So we were hooping and hollering and doing all the stuff. Like, of course, my sister who was there yelled.
High energy sister.
Yeah. But it was like one of the most memorable. If you've seen The Incredible Hulk, you know that the Hulk is fighting, what's his name?
The Abomination?
No, the Abomination as a human, when he's basically discount Captain America, jumping around and everything like that. And, he got too, cocky, and then Hulk just kicks him in his stomach, and he gets... Mm-hmm. Well... That would be a normally like, ooh moment, because it is a ooh moment. The whole theater went, oh, because, all of us are extra. But then you hear my sister in the back yell out, oh, broke off. And we all lost it. So, that was the entire movie going experience was like that. So, yes, that was one of them. Of course, the most famous one that I have mentioned on here a couple times is the infamous Shark Tale. When I went to go see that, I went to see that in a packed theater with my dad and my brother, and all of us kind of did not necessarily like it, but there was it's probably one of the most memorable experience, like one of the most funniest memories I've had going to a movie is packed theater, the most dramatic part of that movie. And it's like the main character is like rejecting the love interest, and she's like, and she's like starting to cry, and the music swells, and then the theater is completely quiet, and then you just hear this kid, and I'm talking 6-year-old, a couple rows in front of me go, she'll get over it. And we lost it. We're like, yep, this kid is going places. That is the epitome of this movie. Thank you very much, kid. If I could give you $10, I would, but I don't know who you are. So it's fine.
Perfect.
And one more. I'll do one more. Of a bad experience, and then we'll go into like smaller stuff.
Sure.
But I went to go see Spider-Man 3 with my brother.
Okay, which Spider-Man 3?
Okay.
We're about to get a third of those bitches.
Yeah, that is true.
And then Andrew Garfield's gonna come out of nowhere with the metal chair.
I was about to say that with the metal chair.
Oh my
god! But Spider-Man 3 with Venom, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 3. It was not a good experience. I'm pretty sure everybody was like, "What?" But also, what made it kind of weird is they were. I'm just thinking about this is stupid because I've rolled my eyes. Me and my brother looked at each other. We're like, "What?" We were sitting watching in the middle of watching the beginning of this movie. Like it was happening. It was on. It was running. And it was the classic Hollywood type thing where the film just stops. It's like, and the lights go up. It's like, and we were all looking around like, and then there was a guy, and I don't envy this guy. Like he was one of the theater managers or something, but he walked in and he was like, "Okay, I'm sorry everybody, but we still have people coming in. So we're going to have to delay this movie for about 20 minutes. So,
rough.
You guys, I'm very sorry, but we still have people coming into their seats."
What are you talking about?
Exactly. This is what me and my brother looked at each other and we're like, "What?" We paid, at that time, it had to have been like $12 a pop. At that time, even then, we were like, we paid this much for this.
Yep.
And it was just like, because there was already a packed theater. So where is everybody sitting? Like all these people that were coming in, I'm guessing some of them sat on the stairs, because we were looking around. It's like, where are there any seats? But there were like 20 more people that came in. So we're like, what's going on? And on top of that, it wasn't a good movie. It was really dumb. Like, I can't believe, like, oh man, I will never forget this too, because everybody, the big reveal of Venom in that movie, the big reveal was it got the most lamest reaction out of the audience. Everybody was just like kind of did that nervous giggle.
Yep.
Like whatever. He was like, were they serious?
I guess he likes being a bad guy.
Exactly. And we were all like we did like the nervous laugh, and then we laughed at that because we were laughing like the nervous laugh. Like the whole theater like was doing that, and we were like, wow, this movie sucks. Unanimously. So I was like, yeah, okay. So anyway, that.
Yeah.
So give me some of yours, bruh.
Lightning round, more movie theater experiences that I thought of while we were talking about. 1, sneaking in to see a movie theater.
Oh, I have a story about that too.
I do
not
too.
Necessarily not necessarily sneaking, but you'll love this story because it involves one of our favorite people.
Hi, Doug.
Yeah.
It's always Doug.
It's always Doug. I love that. That's my brother right there. But yeah, the first PG-13 movie I've ever seen was Jurassic Park 3. So we went to go because we were excited. We're like, dinosaurs. Yeah, let's go. So Jurassic Park 3, we go in there and it's by ourselves. Our first PG-13 movie that we go to see by ourselves. Not that we've seen. That we go by ourselves. So it was just me and him. We were dropped off at Movie World, which doesn't exist anymore. It's an Applebee's. But we went over there and we were dropped off, and we had our money, and we were like, we went to the counter, and we were proud of it too. We were like, 1 ticket to see Jurassic Park 3. And he went over and he said, 1 ticket to see Jurassic Park 3. And we were like looking at each other. We're like, oh, we're so cool. We're so adult. So we went in, we were watching, we sat at the back because that's what cool kids do. We sit in the back. So we were sitting in the back, and the part comes where we were having a good time, not even 20 minutes into the movie. And then the part comes where they're about to they're trying to take off because they just got attacked, and then the guy is standing in the middle of the the runway, spoiler alert, for like all like his arm, because his arm was kind of ripped off, and he's like, oh, please don't leave me. And then the plane is coming, and it's like, he's like, we can't stop this. We know we can't stop this plane. And he's like, oh, please, please, please. And then just when they're about to hit the guy with the plane, the monster comes out and grabs him and chomps him down. And they just clip the monster and go crashing right into the woods. And me and Doug looked at each other, and we slowly got up, walked out the movie theater, out of the room, and we just stood there for a little bit. And we're like, huh, that was intense. Yeah. Are you ready to go back in? We just had to hype each other back up to walk back in and watch the rest of the movie. We missed about 20 minutes of the movie because we were just standing there like, yeah, we're adults. Yeah. That was intense. That was crazy. Are your heart pounding? Is your heart pounding? My heart's pounding. This is what PG-13 movies are?
Geez, what have we signed up for?
And then we went back in and we took our seats and we watched the rest of the movie. So, yeah.
And we're like, I don't know what's happening anymore. It's like we missed 15 minutes of it. I had a similar moment as a absolute adult not that long ago. Going to the theater with our older friend Jane, who was genuinely born and raised in a movie theater with grandparents who played the piano, the old-timey piano that I was doing my bit on at the beginning of the episode, like raised in a movie theater. She's the most knowledgeable person about movies that I will ever meet.
That's kind of awesome.
Full stop.
That's kind of awesome, and I need to meet her. That's like really cool.
Yeah, she's awesome. She would host an Oscar party like every year, and she would print out like predictions, and like you play the game.
That sounds like a great time.
You'd play the game of who's going to predict. Yeah. Everyone's competing for second place because she's going to sweep it. Like no doubt, she never lost.
That sounds like such a great time. I wish people around me were that cool. But,
but anyways, she's a huge horror buff, and so we went to see Hereditary in the theater.
Ooh.
And I watched that movie, and eventually I got to the point where I'm like, I can't handle this. This is the first horror movie that I've ever been in theaters and been like, this is too much for me. So I politely got up, excused myself, went to the bathroom, and looked up spoilers on my phone because I couldn't handle not knowing what was going to happen next.
I thought you were going to tell me I went to the bathroom and just stood there and stared at the mirror at myself.
Yeah. I did the Silent Hill 2 like mirror stare. Yeah. What is my life coming to?
Oh, it's a dog.
There's no dogs around here anyway. Yeah, so that was a great bit.
Wow, yeah, Hereditary is rough, though.
It's extremely rough stuff. It's a good movie that I've been like, I think I should rewatch it. I think it's an excellent movie, and I've been trying to hype myself up to rewatch it for 4 consecutive years.
Mm-hmm. It's all right, dude. That's like early A24, and Hereditary, I was like, I watched it and I was like, okay, maybe I'm just not it slowly dawned on me over time that I was like, I'm probably not as big of I'm just not a horror fan. Because I was watching that movie and I was like, ugh. Ugh. Yeah. So
it's a rough watch.
It's really rough. But that also reminds me, speaking of horror experiences, when here it is, another Doug experience. Doug and his sister. Doug and his sister, his little sister. We went to go see It, the first one, like the remake.
Oh, I have a great time with that.
And yeah, we had a packed house. It was actually a genuine great time, and partly because the whole theater had the same reaction. You know that part where they're all in the like the garage. and they're watching that old video, and then all of a sudden it
the
pops
slide
out.
projector.
Yeah, the slide projector
sequence.
part.
Yeah.
When the clown popped out, like when the whole thing went silent and it went boom, the entire theater jumped.
Yep.
The entire theater jumped. And at the end of that sequence, like when it like calmed down, everybody was just laughing at each other. They're like, I can't believe us. The movie got us. They got us.
I know.
Like, I know I jumped. Apparently, Doug's sister, she threw her like drink. But it was
great.
It was that much of a like everybody just like, whoa, I can't believe they got us.
Yeah, pretty good prank.
Yeah. Good prank, bro.
Good prank, bro. Pennywise is funny.
Oh man! Oh jeez! And I just thought of another one. I'm sorry. Before we're done, I thought of another one with, of course, the Dream Maker, Doug, and his sister. We went to go see TMNT. Remember that movie?
I'm aware of its existence.
Yeah. We went to go see that. I might have
seen it, but I have no memory.
Yeah, it's actually a really cool.
I think I saw it, and I just have erased it from my memory.
Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. I think it's like one of the best versions on screen anyway, animated. But we went to go see that, and this time it wasn't a packed theater. It was like a smaller theater, and we were just like, oh, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, awesome. And we made it because we were old enough where we're like, we're going to take my. Like, Doug's like, we were going to take my sister to go see this kids movie. But really, we just looked at each other. We're like, we're going to go see this. Hell yeah. But there was two other groups in there with us. There was these three guys that sat kind of at the front row, and they were older than us. They were like college age at that point. And I think we were like high school, but these guys were like college age. And they were hyped. These guys were like straight up nerds, and they're like, yeah, let's go. All right, let's go. They were actually really cool because they were really funny.
Yep. But
they were having a good old time. And then there was another group. This is the group that you hate to see in movies. It was a like a group of 4 girls, like teenage girls. Or like older girls. Well, actually, they weren't teenage. They had to have been early 20s at that time. And they obviously cared nothing about the movie. They just wanted to walk in there so they could gossip. And gossip loudly.
Oh, brutal.
As the movies weren't going. Gossip loudly. Loudly. They're talking like we're talking now. And meanwhile, me, Doug and his sister and like the guys down up front, we were just like, it was a small enough theater that we were just looking at them like, are you serious? Like, we just kept glancing at him like, you know what's going on here, right? And we were just looking. And Doug was about to say something because he kind of turned around and he started like whispering, like kind of saying it low voice, like because Doug is very soft spoken. So he's like, hey, excuse me, like type thing. But then in total Chad move, one of the guys down in front basically turned around and said, hey, could you shut the fuck up? We're watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles here. And we all laughed, turned around, pointed and laughed at the girls, and they just went, ah, and like they rolled their eyes and they all got up and left the theater. I was like,
so
wow. Weird. I was like,
you paid for the privilege.
Exactly. We were like, what is wrong with you? But anyway, we had a good time. But yeah, that's what I'm going to say. That's what I'm going to leave it in, because those are the funny, memorable stuff that, I mean, besides like seeing like Castle in the Sky and Dune and, you know, Infinity War.
Just seeing a good movie in a theater isn't a story per se, but like, lots of fun, regular fond memories of seeing like a cool movie in a theater. I'm going to lightning round some more fast memories that I have of fun theater experiences, because despite all of the stuff that we said at the beginning about like why the home movie experience is fine. It is way past the good enough threshold. It is still fun to go see a movie in a theater and see it with a group. It is still fun.
It is. It's the experience.
People yelling during movies, watching The Lord of the Rings, and Shelob is above Frodo in the path of Cirith Ungol. And this was opening day. My mom's got me out of schools so that I could go and see this movie. I was so like absolute like core memory, like foundational, like top 5 mom moment. Easy. Shout out to mom.
Easy.
Way to fucking go. Easy.
Easy.
But, Shelob is slowly crawling up above, and Frodo's down below, doesn't realize that she's right there. And there's just someone in the audience going like, Frodo! Frodo, look up! It'll never stop being funny to me. And then my most recent movie theater memory, going to see Fast X in theaters with a big group, and we brought our Fast and Furious bingo with us. So it wasn't a packed theater, but it was decent lots of other people. There's a decent crowd, and there's like 8 of us there, and we're all sitting in the same row, and we're all just like comparing and like leaning over and just being like, ooh, there was the necklace, but does that count as a close-up of the necklace, or was it just in frame and stuff? And we're like discussing which bingo boxes to check.
Yeah.
And I'm not at the end of the row. My neighbor is at the end of the row. And there's some just randos there. And they're just like, bro, do you have bingo? And he's just like, yeah, man, we got an extra one. You want one? So he just
yeah, you told me.
took one and passed it off to a total stranger. So we got total strangers playing Fast and Furious bingo in the theater. We crossed off 23 out of 25 boxes. Fist bumps, high fives. We were losing our fucking minds.
Wow.
When a camera went inside the car.
Yeah.
Oh boy, what a moment. What an absolute euphoric.
Let's go.
Let's fucking go.
See, and that's how you watch a movie. That's how you watch those movies.
Yeah. And I mean, like, part of that is like us having to bring some of ourselves to it, but like, undeniable that we had an incredible time. And then the other very funny one about, someone yelling at the screen. Us going to see the first movie that I saw in theaters after COVID started loosening its restrictions was The Green Knight, an A24 film.
Yeah.
Which I really like. I like that one quite a bit. But there was someone in that movie who was very confused about where he was because he kept there would be Dev Patel is hallucinating because he's just eaten some bad mushrooms, and he has a vision of the Green Knight, and the guy's just like, ooh, he's gonna get it. And it's just like, bruh. What movie do you think you're watching?
Apparently they don't know. Apparently they do not know. So
every time like a sword comes out, he's just like, yeah, here we go. And it's just like,
get him.
It's not, that is not gonna.
It's not that type of movie.
I don't know how to tell you that you're watching The Green Knight. This is like just like wanting.
This is high Shakespeare, bro.
I know.
This is high Shakespeare.
I was going to say, this is like wanting a gunfight in a Wes Anderson movie, but the Grand Budapest Hotel has that really excellent gunfight.
Okay, we don't have enough time. I was going to say, because that's another theater experience that I will never forget. Because that's generally a good... Okay, I have one last one, because I want to end on a very poignant one. Because we're basically talking about like these grand ones where we're laughing and having a good time and stuff. But there is one time where I went to go see a movie and I had an experience where I was like, this almost made me cry. Collectively, all of us. And it was going to see Arrival. Denis Villeneuve.
Yep.
I absolutely love that movie. To death. It is... And Denis Villeneuve is basically the quiet the quiet blockbuster guy. He's the one that we point to and say, okay, him and maybe a couple of other guys, and I'm talking like handful, that can do blockbusters well in this day and age where everything has to be big. And I'm like, no, you guys do it right. He is one of those people that does it right. He's obviously directing Dune, and Dune Part 2 comes out, and it looks grand. I was like, yes, give it to me. Give it all to me. But when I went to go see Arrival, it is the quietest blockbuster I've ever seen in my life. And the music is fantastic. The acting is fantastic. The story itself, I think, is fantastic. I mean, it's literally a movie about language arts. That's all it is. If you look back at it, it's like, wow, this movie is literally a language arts discussion, which I am fine with because that's what he does. But I was like, I went to go see that in theater, and it was quiet for 99% of the movie. You can hear a pin drop. And I went to go see it in like a fairly packed theater, and everybody was like, this is so beautiful, in like the best way possible, not trying to be like, you know, overly pompous or something, but they're like, this movie is like incredible how he did this. It's so, like, the best way I can describe it is boisterously quiet.
Well, it's grand without being loud.
Yes, and that was one of the best movie theater experiences I've ever had in my life. And I'm like, if everything could be like this, and everything has been like this when I went to go see his movies, like Dune, Blade Runner, which I seem to love, and all of my friends hate it.
No, that movie fucking rules. They're wrong.
Yeah, they are. I tell them all the time, you guys are wrong.
Guys are wrong.
I love this. This is what I've been waiting for, guys. But anyway, all of his movies, I've had a great time. Like Dune, I went to go see in IMAX, and I was like, blow that in my face. Just fart in my face, why don't you? With all this stuff that you make, put it in there. And I was like, yes. And I can't wait for Dune Part 2 because that's exactly the experience I want. So, yes, it's not all fun and games. Sometimes it's very poignant. Like the time I went to go see Tintin, Secret of the Unicorn, and I was the only one in the theater. So I sat right in the front row and I experienced it, and I had myself a good old time. So yeah, that's all I have to say about this stuff. We're getting there. So
awesome. Even with all that, like, I feel like there's definitely some stones that we left unturned. You can have a lot of weird and interesting and diverse experiences with at a movie theater, and I didn't even talk about someone trying to touch your dick. I did that.
I was going to say, you're talking about who grew up in the 70s again?
I've never had my dick touched. I've never had my dick touched at a movie theater, and I think I want to keep it that way.
I was about to say, what kind of theater have you been in lately, sir?
Well, you know, sometimes people get, you know. You know what?
I'm
going to choose not to clarify that.
I was going to say, like, you know.
Yeah. If you know, you know. If you know.
You know.
Yeah.
You know,
wait,
right?
Say no more. Say no more.
Yep. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway. If you've enjoyed this show... If you've enjoyed this show, sorry.
I was about to say that. Oh, the brain cells back. Yes, I was about to say sorry.
Oh, it ping-ponged back to you. I was wondering where it went. It definitely left me for a moment there. If you have enjoyed this show, what can you do? Word of mouth is the only way that we grow, so please tell someone who... you think might be interested and enjoy our banter. If you've enjoyed listening, please give us a rating or a review on Apple Podcasts, Podcast Addict, or wherever else podcasts are rated.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, comments, or have a suggestion for a topic for an episode, send us an email over at halftonetakes@gmail.com. I have been Adam Bucheri. I'm an animator and game designer. And certified donkey brains.
certified moviegoer.
Guaranteed. If you want to check out some of my other work, you can find my tabletop games over at boocherry.itch.io. That is boo like ghost, cherry like fruit.itch.io.
That is bow like boat, cherry like chair.
That is bow like boat, flex like flex.
Bowflex.
Bowflex. It's a total body workout.
For 4 payments of $19.99.99, you can get Bowflex at... That is not my name. My name has been Corey Revis, illustrator and comic creator. You can find me on Instagram at EARTHUR_ONE. Yes, that's one. So Earther1.
Earther1.
Earther1. Check out my comic. It's on Webtoons. It's called Dawn of Time.
You should check out that comic.
Yes, I'll be posting a new page soon. And I'm talking soon as in probably next week. Yeah.
Hype. I check it for updates frequently.
Yes. Unfortunately, I have been very busy lately with getting some other personal stuff together. But
no apologies.
No
apology
apologies.
Rejected.
I'm going to kill you every time you don't upload a page on time.
Every time that you apologize, I'll kill you.
I'll kill you.
I'll kill you.
But anyway, yes. We hope you liked this episode. This was actually a really fun episode.
I had a good time.
We could talk endlessly about theater experiences. What are some of your theater experiences? Please send us some of those in the comments or the email. Honestly, we really want to hear them because this is a communal experience. This is definitely a communal thing.
I feel very confident saying that everyone has at least one weird story.
Yeah. The weirder the better. It's always a good time. Mm-hmm. Or epic. Either weird or epic. We don't want any lame stories. We don't want any of that.
I want lame stories. Give me the boringest story.
No, don't listen to him. I don't want no lame stories. You keep that shit at home.
Every time you don't tell me a lame story, I'll kill you.
I'll kill you.
I'll kill you.
I'm gonna kill this episode. I'm killing it.
I'm gonna kill this phone call in the middle of this sentence.
Ian and her have been doing this little runaround for years now. But the truth of the matter is, none of us are getting any younger. That old clock's a ticking. Quite right, Pooh. And we thought that eventually we'd want to add another Joker Jr. to our merry brood.
So say hello, Batman, to my new son, Jared Leto. Come on, Joker family. It's time for us to KILL the BATMAN. What you guys talking about?
Don't worry about it, Jared.
We have to spell around Jared, otherwise he gets excited.